Well, good morning, church, and I want to say happy Veterans Day. I know I'm a day early, but just want to express how grateful we are to those of you who have served our country and protected our freedoms and protected us by serving in that way. We are absolutely appreciative of you, and we thank God for you guys. Now, as we jump into the passage I'm looking at today, it actually mentions soldiers, and that's not a coincidence. So we're going to look at 2 Timothy chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. Where it tells us, share in suffering as a good soldier of Christ Jesus. No one serving as a soldier gets entangled in the concerns of civilian life. He seeks to please the commanding officer. Now, I don't think a lot of us think of God as a commanding officer very often. But anyone who served in the military will tell you, when you have a commanding officer, it's a good idea to follow after what they tell you to do. And that's how important we need to look at what God's laid out for us as if they're commands from a commanding officer. They're that important in our lives. They're not just something we can look at and pick and choose which ones we want to follow. We should be trying to live out all of that. And so just how important, we're going to talk more specific of what that looks like, because I think that at the end of the day is what fighting the good fight is. It's living out the Christian life. And so we'll talk about that Thursday. But another important thing I want to touch on here is the idea of, it says, no one serving as a soldier gets entangled in the concerns of civilian life. Now, what's that even mean? Obviously, we live on planet Earth, like there's going to be things that happen around us. Does that mean we just don't care about anything except for church life? Well, I don't think that's quite it. I think that what it's saying is, first and foremost, we need to care about what God cares about. And if we're not doing that, if we're setting other things as a priority over what God would want us to, then we need to set our priorities straight. Now, I know I say that in a time where it's absolutely crazy right now. I mean, in our country, and I film these ahead of time. I'm not recording these on Tuesday morning, so it's probably drastically different from when I actually recorded this devotional. But recognizing that as crazy, I know people on both sides of the political aisle are looking at the other side and just freaking out over the possibility of who the president's going to be. Regardless of what side you're on, people are freaking out. And the fact that, yeah, you know what, the next 4 years will look different depending on whichever candidate wins. But regardless of what side you're on, the one thing we can have in common is that, you know, the White House may make some difference who's sitting in that seat, but God is already on the throne. God is ultimately in control of whatever happens, and He's going to be with us through whatever happens. So whatever side you're on, you don't have to completely stress about that. You don't have to lose sleep over it. God's in control. And that's what matters more than anything else. And so recognizing there's a lot of things that are going to stress people out that don't have that same hope that we do. And we can be there for them and try to point them to the Lord and love them. But we don't need to have the same anxieties and stress over the worries of this world, that we can focus on what God's already done for us and the fact that He's in control. And man, what a blessing that is. So remember, and I know Pastor Bob's mentioned it recently, that this is a battle of spiritual warfare, and it absolutely is all around us every day. Be praying that God would help us to set our eyes on Him as our commanding officer, that we'd be soldiers ready in this fight. And like I said, we're going to talk about what fighting the good fight actually looks like, because believe it or not, it's not commenting to people on social media. We'll see you then.